If you're like me, you've probably seen this man absolutely taking over your feed on TikTok.
Are you financially responsible? Yes. Have you ever shoplifted anything? No. Have you ever taken anything from the office worth more than $20? No.
Have you ever had sex with a man?
And she just threw that one at me like a grenade. So I go, no.
Which was true.
But I could feel my heart going like this, like she's trying to trip me up. And she says, let's take a little break. You're sweating profusely. I can tell that you're nervous.
I said, yeah, you kind of threw that question out there like a grenade into the middle of the room.
She said, it's a standard question. I said, I understand. I said, Mr. Vice President, we've met a number of times. You probably don't remember me. I'm from Newcastle, Pennsylvania. My dad was best friends with Angelo Sands. He goes, Angelo Sands from 7th grade? And I said, yeah, your best friend from 7th grade. He says, I do remember you. We talked about it. Angelo's a taxi driver in Las Vegas now. I said, that's right. He is a taxi driver. Great memory. I said, that conversation was 15 years ago. And then he says to the guy next to me, I remember you.
I don't like you.
And he looks at Carrie, and Carrie just like, I don't like him either.
And they walk away.
I said to the guy, what the fuck?
He said, Biden has hated me since I told him in a memo that we should pull out of Afghanistan. And I said, sweethearts these guys are. And he's like, yeah, well.
I just can't escape him. So it got to the point to where I had to do my own research to try to find out who the fuck this guy is. And he is a man that goes by the name John Kiriakou. He's a former CIA agent, and at first I thought he was just another one of these old guys that like to get on podcasts and tell these completely made up stories.
I speak 5 languages. I speak Hebrew fluently, English, Russian, and Spanish.
And one more that I can't speak about.
I had an army since I was in kindergarten, bro. 5 years old, telling 20 guys wait outside. I once robbed my whole gym.
What?
Decade. I'm not allowed to even speak about what unit I was in, things like that for the next 5 years. I can't share it with anybody, but
Now that's where I'm calling
Bullshit. That's fine.
nobody cares.
and it's convenient that you can't talk about it so no one can verify.
But then listening to him, I learned that he was actually a whistleblower for the torture program that was going on in the CIA post 9/11. He became a whistleblower after publicly confirming in a 2007 interview with ABC News that the CIA was using waterboarding on terrorism suspects following the September 11 attacks. His statements, comments were the first public confirmation from a CIA insider that the interrogation method was being used and that it was considered torture. In 2012, he was prosecuted under the Espionage Act of 1917 and pleaded guilty to revealing the identity of a covert CIA officer to a journalist, serving about 23 months in prison. But in this video, I want to go over some of the funniest and most viral clips that I've seen of John to just figure out what the hell we just watched and what the hell we just listened to. The funniest things about these clips of John going viral, like they're going viral because he's like funny, but in the context of the clip, he's being dead serious. He's just retelling things that he experienced. He's being dead serious about the things that he had to do and had to go through during his time as an agent. Like this one.
Have you ever killed anybody? No, thank God. My children asked me that. And I told them very proudly that I have never taken any action that resulted in the death of another human being.
There's one kind of half exception.
There's one kind of half exception. Oh, really? And what's that, John?
Well, go answer the phone. So I went to my desk and I said, good morning, General Powell. This is John Kiriakou. And he says,
John, if the Iraqis were going to kill the president, who would actually be in charge of that operation?
and I said, well, if you're talking about the attempt to kill President Bush, George H.W. Bush, he had been visiting Kuwait. I said, Kuwait operations are run from the Iraqi intelligence service's Basra station. But Basra station is headed by Sabr Abdulaziz Adori, the director of the Iraqi intelligence service.
He says, where does he sit?
I said, Baghdad.
Where exactly in Baghdad?
I said, if you hold on a second, I'll look up the address. So I looked it up. I gave him the address. He said,
Says, thank you. And he hangs up the phone.
I go back in the meeting. They were like, what do you want? I said, he wanted to know about Sabra Adori and the attempt to kill President Bush. I'm like, okay.
8 hours later, we fired 47 cruise missiles into Iraqi intelligence service headquarters.
But by then it was the middle of the night in Baghdad.
And we killed the janitor.
Man, he really was in line with that half exception answer. I mean, I guess this does count. I mean, not really, but at the same time it does. No, that doesn't count because he didn't directly kill anybody. He just sort of gave the information to get a bunch of people killed. So that's not really killing somebody. Yeah, it's not. Usually, at least to me, these kind of longer clips are pretty boring, but I think it's with the high pitching and slowing down of the voice and the background music in this clip or in all these clips, it's what, I don't know, maybe my brain is probably so shot and so fried, which is why that stuff is appealing to me, because to me it just makes it so much better, which is why I use them instead of going to the original podcast to get the clip. But yeah. This next one, he's explaining, I'm pretty sure, about the time where he had to pretend to be gay as a part of his spy job. His job as a CIA spy, he had to pretend to be gay to get info out of somebody.
Headquarters says,
We want you to pretend that you're gay.
I said, oh, come on, you guys. No, we really need the information.
You gotta pretend that you're gay.
I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it for Uncle Sam. So I call him and I said, hey, I have 2 tickets to this show and I was hoping maybe you'd be free.
Maybe we'll grab some sushi afterwards.
He said, yeah, I'd love to. So we go to the show
He thoroughly enjoyed it.
and we go for sushi afterwards. And then we go out again and he says, why don't you come over to my place some night and I'll make dinner. I said, great. So I go over to his place, he made a lovely dinner. And then I thought, well, I have to invite him to my place. So I told my wife.
You're gonna have to, get out.
So she left. I made dinner. I removed all the pictures of us together. And we had just gotten married. So we had our wedding picture up and everything. At the dinner,
He leaned in to kiss me.
and I instinctively backed off. And he said, oh my God, I'm sorry. I thought you're gay. And I said, oh no,
I am gay.
I'm not into hairy guys. And he's like,
Oh.
okay. I said, I'm sorry. I think you're great. But
I'm not feeling
you didn't kiss him.
it. No.
So we remained friends. And in the end, he gave me the information.
Because we were friends.
Dude, I remember being a little kid and thinking that being a spy would have just been the coolest shit ever. It's like one of those fantasy occupations you have when you're a child. Listening to I don't know how many hours of clips and podcasts that I've listened to of John, a lot of what he's been through really makes being a spy look not so cool anymore. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad I never acted on that sort of fantasy of being a spy. But man, this is like a re-indicator, or this is like reassurance as to why I'm glad I didn't. What the fuck? But those, combined with the ones that I've shown throughout the video, are probably some of my favorite ones that I've seen come across my For You page so far. Now this next one isn't really a clip or clips from TikTok or anything like that. It's a YouTube video that John did or partook in, like a Q&A. He just took cards out of a box and answered questions. And I kind of wanted to talk about the most interesting / alarming things that I got from watching this.
Does the CIA listen through our phones and laptop cameras? Yes. I hate to say it. There was a dramatic leak in 2017 that the CIA came to call the Vault 7 disclosures. Gigabytes worth of documents leaked by a CIA technology engineer. What he told us was that the CIA can intercept anything from anyone, number one. Number two, they can remotely take control of your car through the car's embedded computer. To do what? To make you drive off a bridge, into a tree, to make you kill yourself and make it look like an accident. They can take over your smart television and turn the speaker into a microphone so that they can listen to what's being said in the room even when the TV is turned off. God knows what else that they can do that hasn't been leaked.
See, the thing about the phones, I knew already, as does everyone ever, or at least most people in the world know that, you know, they're watching us on our phones. What I didn't know, or I should say wasn't too sure was real, was the whole taking over your car and being able to like send it off a bridge so it looks like you killed yourself. I didn't know that was like a possible thing with like anyone's car. If anything, I thought it was only just electric cars, which I don't own. But any car they can just hijack and make it drive off a bridge? I wonder how they do that. Like to a car that was made in 2001. How do you do that to a car that old?
Is social media the biggest intelligence gathering tool today? It is absolutely one of them, yes. You know, I was always amazed when I was at the CIA at how targets, legitimate intelligence targets, would literally put their entire lives on LinkedIn and Facebook. Incredible. You don't even have to do any research. They lay it all out right there on the screen for you. So the answer is yes. If you value your privacy, if you don't want to pop up on the radar, you have to stay away from social media.
Yeah, that just means all of us are cooked. And for anyone who believes the apps when they give you that screen or notification, like saying that your account and data is secure and protected, this kind of confirms that that is all horseshit. Like, such horseshit. It's not true. They're not protecting anything or anyone.
What made you decide to blow the whistle? It's very brave. Thank you. You know, at the CIA, we are trained to believe that everything in life is a shade of gray. And that is just simply not true. Some things are black and white. They're right or wrong. And the United States has laws that ban torture. We have the Federal Torture Act of 1946. We are not just signatories to the United Nations Convention Against Torture. We wrote the United Nations Convention Against Torture. In 1946, the United States executed Japanese soldiers who waterboarded American POWs. In 1968, an American soldier waterboarded a North Vietnamese prisoner and was given 20 years at hard labor in a military prison after being convicted of torture. The law never changed. So how is it then that from 2002 to 2005, torture was somehow magically legal? It wasn't legal. We were committing crimes against humanity. And so it was something that I having known the details, I couldn't sleep at night. And I believed, and in retrospect, I was right, that the American people had a right to know what their government was doing in their name. And I'm proud to say that because of my revelations, the McCain-Feinstein Amendment was passed into law, and it formally and permanently banned torture.
At least to me, John is proof that there are some, it may be very few, but there are some people in the CIA with a conscience, still remaining with a conscience. Because I was always under the impression that anyone who was in the CIA, the FBI, any form of government had to be a cold-hearted, raging sociopath. Which is ironically pretty funny because he literally says that the CIA only hire people with sociopathic tendencies.
They look for people who have sociopathic tendencies.
It's like, okay, well, how many of them just slip into full-blown sociopaths during their duration in the CIA? Like, what? I don't know. But I think John, along with other whistleblowers, are proof that human feeling and emotion still does exist within the United States government. How many people still possess that in government? I don't know. But him and all the other people that have blown the whistle on whatever shady things the government has done over the years are very much proof that people with people with a conscience still exist in government. I kind of enjoyed making this, you know, learning about all my compromised technology that's living amongst me right now. It's pretty cool. Not really, kind of scary, but it's cool adjacent or something like that. Because like, hi, CIA man watching me through my camera probably. I wonder what else he's seen me do.